Now, guest network can be utilized in a lot of venues. So, like I mentioned, if you have end users that offer public services, or let's say are in the F&B industry, let's say cafe, offices, and schools, usually they would have their own private network for their local devices or for their own staff. But at the same time, they utilize Wi-Fi for guest use, for internet access, and to provide more services for their clients. So, what's the main benefit in providing wireless access? I think we can all agree that if you provide free Wi-Fi access to your guests, this basically invites more people to come into your store. Like when you go into a cafe, usually you would ask if they have free Wi-Fi. What's a Wi-Fi password? What's a Wi-Fi access? Or if you check into a hotel, you would always immediately ask for Wi-Fi access as well. So sometimes if you have meetings and then you go into that cafe and then they don't have Wi-Fi, maybe you would go to a different cafe. So it attracts more people, attracts more guests to go onto your business, to your site. Now, like I mentioned, there are a lot of ways to deploy a guest network. So one is by using, let's say, on our system, we have our own AAA service. Not AAA, sorry. We have our own radio server on the cloud. So you can create users and passwords, and then maybe later on print those out to share that to your clients. Another way for deploying guest wireless is by using an external server. Let's say, for example, hotels, they would have a radio server tied into the PMS. And then from there, they would print that out and provide it to their guests who check in for access to the internet. There is also a hotspot service, like the voucher service that we have on the cloud. So usually this is used by cafe owners, businesses that provides like a ticket. So this ticket can last depending on what the admin has set. Let's say, for example, an hour's worth of duration, 30 minutes, and so on. And then there's also a social login for guest access. Now, this is different from Facebook Wi-Fi. Basically, for social login, when you connect to an SSID, you will be prompted to log in using one of these selected social media accounts. Let's say, for example, Twitter or your Google your Google Plus login. So once you have logged in, that's basically it. The guest has internet access, but there's no other benefit you can get out of it apart from just seamless login for the client. So what is Facebook Wi-Fi, or what is Facebook Wi-Fi 2.0? Facebook Wi-Fi have in fact been in the market for quite some time already, if I'm not mistaken, over 4 years. Maybe you have encountered this on some of the cafes or maybe milk tea shops that you went to, or restaurants. So usually they would broadcast free Facebook Wi-Fi. When you connect to it, you would get a prompt. So like social login, it would ask you for your login for Facebook. After you key it in, however, it will bring you to a next page. Usually you would have a check-in before you can access Wi-Fi. So apart from authentication, Facebook Wi-Fi enhances recurring clients. Apart from providing Wi-Fi, you can also gather data on the back end. For example, you would want to know how many clients have logged in within the month. Within that month, are they recurring clients? Are they all new clients? So you would be able to see that from your Facebook page as well, if you are managing a Facebook business account. And then from there, you can also see, for instance, general information such as what is the percentage of the gender who visit my location or my shop, and then I can see the age bracket and so on and so forth. So with that, you can also customize your advertisements, which I'll talk about later on. So Facebook Wi-Fi, as I mentioned, has been in the market for quite a long time, but unfortunately they stopped Facebook Wi-Fi, the OG Facebook Wi-Fi 1.0. They stopped that program for about 1.5 years ago. And right now we're kicking off Facebook Wi-Fi 2.0. And luckily, EnGenius is the first vendor who will work with Facebook in this launch. So Facebook Wi-Fi 2.0 brings in seamless guest Wi-Fi experience. And one of the major additions that they have added on Facebook Wi-Fi is the ability to log in using Instagram. So if you are, or if your end user is managing a Facebook page. Usually, cafes, restaurants, business owners would have their own Facebook page. They may have an Instagram page as well. On Facebook Wi-Fi 2.0, you are able to set up two login options for your clients, for your guests, or for their patrons. So log in using Facebook or log in using Instagram. This is important because a lot of people nowadays, especially influencers, they may have an Instagram account, but they don't have a Facebook account. So having this option would provide them an additional method to log in using Wi-Fi. So there is an option to enter a Wi-Fi code instead, but I'll talk about it later on. So in terms of the engagement, basically after the client have selected their method of login, let's say it's through Facebook, they would see this page. So basically, instead of just allowing them to browse the internet, they can prompt you to ask if do you want to check in on this location. So if again it's a coffee shop, once you checked in, that would appear in your feed. On the backend side, the Facebook page owner would basically see that information in the backend, like how many users have checked in. So even if you set your visibility to only you, so only you can see that you have checked in, but the owner of the page will be able to extract general statistics. So they won't be able to see specific information like what is the profile of this person who checked in, what's the name and all that. So that will be hidden because of privacy. So once you have checked in, basically for the Facebook owner, that can generate more audiences to their page. And then later on, they can use that information in terms of broadcasting advertisements. So when you log in using Instagram, it will prompt you to follow the page. So for Instagram side, you would get more follows, which again would enhance traffic on your page. So since Facebook owns Instagram, basically this can be linked together. Your business account for Facebook can be synced with your Instagram business account as well. So your address, your promotions and everything, your advertisements most especially, can be broadcasted on both platforms simultaneously. If I'm not mistaken, right now, they've also enabled an option to broadcast Facebook advertisements through WhatsApp as well. So if you enable WhatsApp on your Facebook page account. So one of the major things or one of the useful things that Facebook Wi-Fi has is visitor insights. So like I mentioned, from here, once you go to your Facebook management page, you'd be able to see general information in terms of how many unique visitors you have per month. You can compare that to the previous months as well. So how many checked in from Wi-Fi, how many just skip checked in but connected on your Wi-Fi network. And then from there, you can also see like which of those clients are first time visitors, which are your recurring patrons for your site. So that information is very helpful. And on Facebook side, you can use that information to again classify your promotions or classify the advertisements that you may have. So with Facebook Wi-Fi 2.0, so let's say once you have gathered your information of your clients, on Facebook sites, you can do target marketing or target marketing. So you can filter out what type of advertisements you want to broadcast using Facebook ads. So you can either select custom audiences. So custom audiences are, let's say, a general profile. So you can select the age range, and then you can select the gender of your target advertisement. Let's say it's cosmetic. So maybe you want to target this to more onto your female audience. And then you can also select a location based on your business. So let's say you're managing multiple branches for your businesses. So you can also select on which area do you want this advertisement to appear based on the audience traffic. Now, they also have this lookalike audiences for target marketing. So basically, if let's say you have a certain target profile, or you notice that okay, I noticed that this is the age bracket that always visits my cafe or my milk tea shop. I want to send out advertisements to people that are on the same criteria. For example, same age bracket, same gender, or same likes and dislikes on Facebook side. So when you create an ad on Facebook, that would send them to your lookalike audiences. So in return, it can enhance again the traffic on your actual location or on your Facebook page or Instagram business page as well. Now, there's one nifty feature on Facebook side. By the way, all of this are part of our free license on the cloud. So it's part of the basic license. So even when we launch licensing, Facebook Wi-Fi integration will be free for everyone. So going back to Facebook Wi-Fi side, they have this nifty feature called Find Wi-Fi or Find Wi-Fi Store search. So from your Facebook app, if you go onto the settings portion, you should see an option there that looks like a small radar. So it's named Find Wi-Fi. What that does is for all the businesses that has Facebook Wi-Fi enabled, you would see it on the map. And actually, even if you try to do a search from your own Facebook app, and then let's say you try to type in Wi-Fi, it would show you the nearby places that has Facebook Wi-Fi enabled. So from there, it's like free marketing from Facebook because people who search for free Wi-Fi would be able to know that, hey, okay, this business is offering free Wi-Fi. You can go ahead and check the page. You can go ahead and click on directions to lead you onto that site from the map, and so on and so forth. So you can also check other information that you have enabled on your Facebook business account. For example, what are the operating times? Do you open? Do you open on the weekends? What services do you offer? Like if you have uploaded, let's say you're a restaurant owner and then you have uploaded your menu on Facebook, they would also see that from there. So it's a very useful tool to invite more or new visitors as well. When it comes to the setup, I mentioned earlier that we want to make it very easy in terms of setting up your Facebook Wi-Fi account. I'll be walking you guys through how you do that through the EnGenius Cloud to Go app, and then you can see how easy it is to set up. So this is the main settings part on Facebook Wi-Fi. So you see a couple of options here. So first is if let's say you have an Instagram business page, so you can directly link that on your Facebook Wi-Fi account so that on your splash page, your clients would be able to select Facebook Wi-Fi or Instagram login as well. If you don't have an Instagram page, you can just disable that as well. So next option right here is skip check-in. So after logging in using, let's say, your Facebook or Instagram account, there will be an option to either follow or check in to that business page. You can enable a skip check-in button there so that the client won't be forced to log in. But you can also enable another mode, which is Wi-Fi code. So if you select Wi-Fi code, basically the client would cannot skip the check-in or follow button, but they can key in an alternate code once they ask this from the admin side. So depending on how you want it to be run on the system, you can set it that way. Now, this is a nice feature, session length, because here you can customize how long would each Wi-Fi connection be per user. So let's say you set the session length to 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, the client will be disconnected from Wi-Fi, giving chance for others to connect. While at the same time, when he tries to log in again, he would see your Facebook page again. So if you have like recurring advertisements there on your Facebook page, you can easily customize that and set it that way. So the session length can be enabled or disabled as well, depending on your requirement. So lastly, you have a list of Wi-Fi networks where you have your sites activated with Facebook Wi-Fi. So you can review that and delete that from here. Now, apart from Facebook Wi-Fi settings, on top of that, you can also enable the usual Genius Cloud SSID settings. So over Facebook Wi-Fi, you can also enable items such as client balancing. So let's say it's a huge venue and you have Facebook Wi-Fi enabled, and then you have multiple access points. So you can automatically load balance your clients between your access points. You can also enable NAT mode so that your access point will act as your DHCP server for your guests. And doing that would eliminate a bit of processing from your router side. And then, of course, the other features like band steering, you can control as well. Bandwidth limit for the guests. This is very useful so that not all the guests would be able to hog the network. So let's say you have a guest network with Facebook Wi-Fi. You want to limit the bandwidth of each client to be maybe 5 meg or lower or higher, depending on how much bandwidth you have on the back end. And even if that person like downloads torrents or stream videos and all that, they won't be able to like increase the latency on your network because you're limiting it on the back end. Other items you can enable are like VLAN isolation as well to further increase the security on your guest network account. So all of these items can be enabled on top of Facebook Wi-Fi authentication. So I've had a lot of questions between social login and Facebook Wi-Fi. So just a recap on the features of Facebook Wi-Fi and how is it different from your usual social login. So here's a quick table. So both of them offers quick setup because for social login, basically you're selecting your social media login of your choice, and then from there, once the client has login, that's it. But for Facebook Wi-Fi, it's the same, but you get more out of it after the clients have logged in. Seamless guest Wi-Fi experience because the client doesn't need to key in any username or password. For the admins, for the cafe owners, and so on, they won't have to print out any vouchers. They won't have to distribute or check the system on whether this particular voucher has expired. Basically, they just have to enable it, and that's it. For the users, they just have to log in as usual, as if they're logging on to any website. And then from there, they would be granted internet access already. Now, here are the benefits that you get for Facebook Wi-Fi 2.0. First is your engagement on your Facebook page. So, of course, if you're a business owner, you would want a lot of people to like your page, check in, comment, post something on your page to create traffic or to generate traffic. So, the more attention that a page gets, the more clients they can have as well. And then from that type of information, they can again create advertisements to cater specific audiences they have selected. So Facebook Wi-Fi 2.0 has Instagram for business integration. This is what the previous version didn't have. So again, EnGenius is the first to work with them in terms of developing this. So if you want to utilize this function right away, you know where to get it. Visitor Insights is a useful feature, especially if you want to monitor how many clients you have on a particular site. Maybe this can help you as well on your inventory system to track it a little bit easier. And then you have your target marketing, you have your lookalike audiences, you have your customizable audiences as well, so that you can target your ads properly. And then through target marketing, again, you can select as well on where you want to display those ads. Is it just through Facebook? Is it for the people who liked your page? Is it for people who haven't seen your page? And do you want to post this ad to Instagram and WhatsApp as well? So Facebook Find Wi-Fi integration is a nice feature as well. So for clients that are like looking for free Wi-Fi access, maybe they are looking for a cafe, so they can use the Facebook app and search for areas that offers free Facebook Wi-Fi. So again, if you have enabled Facebook Wi-Fi in your access point, that would sync with Facebook and appear on the app too. And then session length control is very useful if, let's say the store or the restaurant doesn't have enough bandwidth to offer for the clients, so they can limit the session per connection. Hand in hand, if you enable bandwidth or traffic shaping or bandwidth limitation, you can further distribute your bandwidth amongst your clients. Okay, so I'll be using the EnGenius Cloud to Go app to show you guys how easy it is to set up. Give me a moment here so that I could share my phone screen just a while. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen through a mirroring app. I'm not sure how it would look like on Zoom side, but I hope it's clear for you guys. Let me just try to enlarge the screen even further. Just a moment. Okay, you guys should be able to see my phone screen right now. Are you seeing it? Okay, thanks for the confirmation. So yeah, so we have the EnGenius Cloud to Go app. This is where we're going to enable Facebook Wi-Fi on the launch. And then afterwards, we will have this enabled on the cloud portal as well. So all you need to do is go to your EnGenius Cloud to Go app. And then navigate to the organization that you're managing where you have your access point, which you want to enable Facebook Wi-Fi. So let me select this organization and I have a test network right here. Okay, so from there, there's this thing, there's a watermark blocking my phone. Sorry about that. So on the bottom side, you should see an option for Wi-Fi. So navigate to the Wi-Fi tab and then select or create a new SSID on which you want to enable Facebook Wi-Fi. So here I named it as EnGenius Free Wi-Fi. To find the option for Facebook Wi-Fi, all you need to do is navigate to the Captive Portal tab. And then from there, authentication type. So from the list, you would see an option for Facebook Wi-Fi. If you have been navigating our EnGenius Cloud portal, you won't see this option yet. We'll be adding that soon on the browser. But from the app, it should be available on the 19th of May. So select Facebook Wi-Fi from here. And then you would see this option that says set up FB Wi-Fi. So when you click on setup Facebook Wi-Fi, if you're not logged in yet, it's going to prompt you to log in your Facebook admin account, the one that you're managing for your business. And then from here, it's going to give you the options. So first is which business page you want to enable Facebook Wi-Fi. So I'm only managing one page right now, which is why you only see EnGenius APAC. So if you have multiple businesses, you can select amongst them. And then from here, connected Facebook apps. The option that you have right now is for Instagram business account. So you can sync that and enable it. So if you have an Instagram business account already synced with your page, you can enable that as well. And then the next option is for skipping check-in. So what option do you want to provide for your guests? Do you want to allow them to skip checking in before they are able to browse Wi-Fi, or to skip following you on Instagram? Or you can select another option, which is Wi-Fi code. When you select Wi-Fi code, you have to key in a passphrase, a password. So when they see the check-in option, they're going to see the Wi-Fi code option as well. So they are not able to skip checking in, but they can key in a Wi-Fi code. So this one they need to get from the admin to be able to bypass that check-in portion. So the last option that we have here is the session length. So how much Wi-Fi access do you want to provide for your guests? So here you can select from half an hour, 30 minutes. Maximum is 1 day or 24 hours of access. Basically, the session length will determine how long each client connection would be. So let's say I select half an hour. After 30 minutes, I'll be disconnected from the Wi-Fi connection. So I would need to reconnect again. For the client side, they're going to see that same splash page again. So yeah, another benefit is that since you have your own Facebook page or Instagram page as the splash page, you don't have to customize your splash page anymore or set up another web server just to create a splash page. So since your Facebook page would have information like your background, cover photo, maybe you have advertisements there, you can use that already as your splash page. So once you have set up the screen, basically you're good to go. All you need to do right now is save it from here, and that's it. So once you connect to your, wait, let me discard this. So once you connect to this SSID, essentially you would see the splash page already for Facebook. So apart from that, you can also enable other things from the EnGenius Cloud to Go app. Let's say, for example, band steering, you want to enable that. You want to enable NAT mode so that you would get an IP from the access point, bandwidth limitation. You can also enable Wi-Fi schedule. So for instance, your business only operates from 9 to 6 every weekday. So you can set that on the app as well, so that after office hours or after business hours, nobody would be able to connect to your Wi-Fi network. Okay, so To demo how the experience is like when you actually connect to the Wi-Fi interface, I can't show you that remotely because that would disconnect my remote session every time I connect to the SSID. So I prepared a couple of videos for that just a while. Okay, so on my left hand side right here, I have a demo on how it would look like if you connect to Facebook. So let me play this video. Okay, here my SSID is EnGenius APAC. So once you select EnGenius APAC, shortly after you would get your splash page. So you would see your profile picture. You have an option for Facebook login. You have an option for Instagram login. So here I selected Facebook. And now the option is check in. You can see you can replace the audience as well. When you check in, let's say you only wanted to make it visible to yourself, to a specific group of friends, you can do that as well. But regardless of that choice, that data would be kept on Insights too. So your check-in would still be recorded, but of course your name would not be recorded on the back end. So once you have checked in, basically it will lead you to the Facebook page of the client, and then from there you can like put other stuff on your Facebook page. So right away, you are able to access Facebook Wi-Fi or the internet right away. So without having to deal with any other thing. For Instagram, it looks slightly different. So let me show you. So again, same SSID, but this time I'll be selecting Instagram login. By the way, Instagram login for the previous iteration of Facebook Wi-Fi, it's not enabled on that system. So this is a first again from EnGenius. So here, since Instagram is tied up to Facebook, I'm using the same login account, but I'm connecting to Instagram instead. So the main difference is that instead of going through Facebook page, you would get an option to follow the Instagram page. And then it will lead you to the business page of that Instagram account. So this is a new page from EnGenius. It was literally created like 2 days ago. So maybe we'll be posting more advertisements on this page. If you want to follow us, you can follow us at EnGenius APAC. Okay, so EnGenius Cloud Facebook Wi-Fi 2.0 will be launched on the 19th of May. So it will be initially launched on the Cloud to Go app, and then shortly afterwards, it will be launched from your Facebook, from the EnGenius Cloud portal as well. So to find it on the cloud portal, let me just show you that as well. Let me open a browser. Okay, so from the portal, you first have to navigate from the organization and network that you're managing, and then head over to configuration and then SSID. And then under the SSID setup, go to the captive portal tab and then select social login. So once we enable Facebook Wi-Fi for the cloud portal or the browser, the option would appear right here below. So there should be an option here to set up Facebook Wi-Fi, which would bring you to the same screen on the options that you want to manage for Facebook side. So since I have the browser, let me show you how that would appear under the actual Facebook setting. So if let's say you're managing a Facebook account, on the left-hand side, you would have an option to go to settings. And then from here, one of the options is Facebook Wi-Fi. So when you select Facebook Wi-Fi, you can also modify those options from here as well. Oh, let me share one more screen. I forgot to show you guys. Okay, just a moment. Let me reshare my phone. Okay, so I mentioned you can actually search for a place where you have free Wi-Fi from your Facebook app. So here I have my app, and then when you go to the settings, the hamburger icon on the lower left, you can find Wi-Fi. Like here you have find Wi-Fi. So when you click on that, it will bring you to this page. Okay, so you have to enable your location to always. So let me do that first. And then from the screen, it's going to show you a map, which would show you where the free Wi-Fi are and in the vicinity you're in. So since I activated it on our access point, you can see that the EnGenius page here has free Wi-Fi. So you can click on visit page to bring you to the Facebook page of EnGenius, or get directions to show you how to get there. So another way is by doing a search on top. So let's say you type in Wi-Fi, it would actually show you the different places you can navigate to which offers free Wi-Fi. I actually just found this like yesterday. So when you type in Wi-Fi on Facebook search, it will list out the areas nearby which offers free Wi-Fi. So you can see that from the list. And then from there, let's say you found a cafe that you want to visit, you can double check that, hey, they offer free Wi-Fi, and you can check how to get there as well. So again, we'll be launching this feature on the 19th of May, first on Cloud to Go app, which is available for iOS and Android, and then followed by the Cloud Portal as well. So for EnGenius Cloud updates, we have a couple of updates that we did. On the previous webinars, we discussed that we'll be launching a scheduled and customizable report function. That's already available right now. So you'd be able to generate reports on your account. So this was originally planned to be released only for the professional license, but the team have discussed internally and made this available to the basic license as well. So for the free accounts, you are able to generate customizable reports. You are able to select what type of options you want to appear on that report. But scheduling is reserved for the pro license. For the basic license, you can generate up to. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing this or because there's something blocking my screen. For the basic license, you are able to generate one report. For the pro license, you are able to generate 3,000 reports per organization. So the oldest report, let's say you already reached 3,000, the oldest report would be overridden by the latest report that you have created. Another option that we added, which is very useful for MSPs, is a backup and restore function. Now you can do this per network. It's not per organization. It's going to be per network, and you can set up a restore point for 2 backups per network. So let's say right now you're working on multiple networks, and then you want to back up your settings for safety, just in case somebody messes it up. Let's say one of your sub admins. So in case somebody changed the setting and you're not aware of what changes they have made. So at any point in time, you can restore to the previous settings that you have backed up. So you can save two different backups, and you can also utilize this function when you create a new network under your organization. So let's say right now you create a new network. You want maybe it's for another site. So multiple branches, same company. You want to copy the exact same setting, but it's on a different site. So you create a new network. You're gonna have an option to clone a network from an existing backup. So let's say from site A, you back up the settings, you create a new network, you clone from there. So whatever setting you have on the other network would be copied over to the new network as well. So it would make deployment a lot easier and a lot faster. So let's say you have a lot of VLAN settings, you have maybe 8 SSID profiles with different captive portal settings, and then you have scheduling options as well. So all those would be copied over to the new network. Okay, so I'll be going over your questions if you have any. Let me just check from here. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of questions just a while. Let me go through the chat first, and then I'll go to the Q&A function. Okay, first question here. Are Facebook Wi-Fi 2.0 features add on to the current EnGenius cloud? Does it involve extra costing and to be able to use the feature? So Facebook Wi-Fi 2.0 is integrated on EnGenius. It will be launched on the 19th of May, and it's fully free. So it's part of our free basic license on the cloud. So when we launch our licensing, we have two licenses, Basic and Pro. So Facebook Wi-Fi would be part of our basic license, so you don't have to worry about any recurring payments. You just have to basically purchase an EnGenius access point and configure it from there. Next question is, can I back up with SkyKey connected to the cloud? Okay, unfortunately, the backup feature that we have for the cloud right now is only for the cloud settings itself. But the SkyKey has its own settings too. So the SkyKey has two options to back up the settings. First is, actually there are three. So first is to manually download the settings from the SkyKey, from the Easy Master. Second option is by using the SD card. So there is an SD card slot on the SkyKey, so you can back up your settings there as well. The third option will be the internal auto backup system of the SkyKey. So the SkyKey has this unique feature amongst all the different versions of Easy Masters that we have. So the SkyKey does a regular backup. By default, it does it every 3 a.m. on the background. So even if your SkyKey is active. So at any point in time, if let's say it crashes for some reason, you can restore from that backup point. Okay, questions here on the QA function of Zoom. Is it possible to force users to like the Facebook page or Instagram account and before they are allowed internet access? Technically, yes. So your options there are skip check-in or skip follow or enter a Wi-Fi code. So if you enable skip check-in, they can bypass checking in before they can connect to the internet. But if you select Wi-Fi code, so they won't be able to bypass that authentication page or checking in from Facebook unless they type in that Wi-Fi code. So of course, if you're an admin and then you are the only one who has that code, nobody can provide it to the client. So they have to check in before they can browse the web. Okay, next question here. Will they need to check in again, or can they access it instantly after they reconnect? Okay, so let's say for today, they already have checked into Facebook Wi-Fi. Once they get disconnected and reconnect again to your SSID, the option will be continue. So they won't be required to check in on the same day. After 24 hours the next day, it would ask them to check in again. So it would count as a new check-in already. So it's on a day-to-day basis. For Instagram follow, it's different because once you follow, the only option is unfollow. So once they follow once, basically that's it for Instagram. Next question is this different from Facebook Express Wi-Fi system? I honestly haven't heard of Facebook Express Wi-Fi system, but if I'm not mistaken, this is the same as social login, in which you would be required to log in by using your Facebook account. but you won't be able to get any other data. Another question here is, do we wait, let me do we need location? I think the question here is, let's say you have a Facebook page. How do you enable check-ins on your business account? So yeah, good question. To actually enable check-in on your Facebook page, you need to have a valid address on your Facebook page before that check-in option would appear. So otherwise, it will just be a continue before they are allowed to log in. So let's say you have a Facebook business page, but you don't have an actual site that your clients can go to. The check-in option will not appear. So for the check-in option to appear on Facebook side, you have to have a valid address. So once you have that fulfilled, the check-in option would appear. Okay, another question here: when will this feature be available? So this will be launched on the 19th of May. Okay, another question here is this only available for selected EnGenius Cloud products, or is it available throughout all EnGenius based controller based products? So as of the moment, it will only be available for EnGenius Cloud, but do stay tuned. Maybe we'll be launching it as well on our NSky system, but I can't make any promises. But right now, it will be available for EnGenius Cloud. Okay, so another question right here is, if you skip Facebook account authentication, I know you are allowed to key in something like a code, but can we integrate it with EnGenius QR code scanning or logging in via a random generated code from the cloud portal? You can do that actually. So before they authenticate on the splash page, you can also enable another authentication on the SSID. So let's say you enable, yeah, maybe QR code or WPA2 PSK. After they have keyed in that password, they will be brought to the splash page in which they have to authenticate. But for the guest, that would be like double authentication for them. So maybe it depends on the situation. If your guests are, if general of your guests accept like double authentication, maybe it's fine. For others, they would want maybe a more seamless experience. How secure is Facebook Wi-Fi? So basically, for a Wi-Fi connection, before you are able to authenticate to a system, you would either need to key in a passphrase, or if you're logging in using Radius, you would need to have your own username and password. So the database here is actually using Facebook's database. So the system would be cross-checking on Facebook side if this is a valid username and password. If it is, then you'll be allowed access. If it's not, you will be rejected entry. So in terms of security, we have our own security on the SSID itself on the network. And if you enable this as NAT mode, this would enhance or enable isolation as well, so that the clients connected on this SSID won't be able to communicate with other hosts on the network. Yeah. Question here is, any plans to include it on the Easy Master? I don't have news as of the moment, but do stay tuned in that on that in case we will be adding it. But for now, we're going to be adding this for the cloud. Okay, another question here is, may I know why is there a delay in launching cloud in earlier application for Android and iOS? I'm not sure about that. Oh, actually, we have launched the EnGenius Cloud to Go app for quite some time now, if I'm not mistaken, over 3 months. So, yeah, maybe you can rephrase your question. Thank you. Okay, question here is, where are the insights and analytics visible? So the insights and analytics are actually visible on Facebook side, on the Facebook page side. So if you are a manager of that Facebook page, the insights would be visible from there. So this cannot be viewed from EnGenius side because we don't gather any of clients' data for privacy. So this can only be viewed on the Facebook page side. So if let's say the logins are from Instagram, Instagram analytics would be linked through Facebook and it will be generated there as well. Is this feature available only at EnGenius, and is it available for our competitors as well? So Facebook 2.0 integration happened first with EnGenius. So we are the first wireless vendor to integrate with them with their newly launched Facebook 2.0 function. We have no news if it's going to be available for other competitors as well, but it's going to be firstly available with us in Genius.
Hello, yeah.
Okay, another question here is what if the business have a few Neutron series or NSky series mixed with a cloud in a certain site? So
Hello.
how can a customer be continuously connected?
Hello.
Okay, for that situation,
Uh,
because your access point would technically have
yes.
different authentication, it either has to be all cloud so that you can enjoy Facebook Wi-Fi, or something else when they connect to another SSID. Maybe a workaround there is for
Yeah, but
the other models that you have, you can put them on a different SSID, and then for the cloud, you can set them up with Facebook Wi-Fi SSID.
complicated. Betul.
Okay, more
Itu
questions
setiap
here.
harinya.
Just a while.
Jadi setiap harinya Facebook
How much is a pro
dibuka.
license?
Jadi kalau
We
wah
haven't
kita
finalized the licensing
susahnya
yet, the
masuknya
pricing,
ke
but that will be
satu enam
launched
lima
maybe around Q3.
Ah,
For the licensing,
kalau masuk monitoring
this one is to be
dalam
determined, but we're
VPN
going to have 1 year, three
sebab
year, and a
kadang-kadang kita ke
lifetime
rumah ke
license option.
itu ada TV sendiri.
But in terms of the
Tapi dia
pricing,
ambil TV
the pricing,
VPN-nya
do
saja dah
stay tuned for
sebenarnya.
that. Okay, what are all the user information captured through
Apa-apa
Facebook
pun boleh
login? So in terms of the
Excel
user
boleh,
information, these are
spreadsheet
more
boleh.
general information because Facebook also updated their privacy settings.
Iya
So they
betul,
will
sama
not
je, sama je.
provide
Ah,
specific user information to the Facebook page. For example, you will not
boleh,
know the
boleh.
Facebook profile.
Boleh.
You gather general information which you
Iya
can
betul.
use for advertisements, such as the age, if the person made it available
Iya betul.
through his Facebook
Aha.
page. Basically, it depends on the
Iya,
privacy setting of the
iya,
individual. If he enabled
iya
his
betul.
age to
Ah,
appear, the
tapi ini
gender,
nak confirm
the
internet sudah ada
location
belum?
where he logged in, so that will be captured on
Kalau
Facebook
internet
site.
tak ada, maknanya tak boleh
But if
connect
he
pun
set
lah.
it to private, if I'm not
Stand je
mistaken,
pakai internet
the
yang
Facebook
private
owner will
tu.
not see that information as well. But yeah, in terms of
Mana situ boleh
specific
press
information on the person
confirm
who
lah.
checked in, the business owner will not be able to see that. They would not be able to see who logged in. The only time that they would know which profile interacted
Dia
with
tengok.
their page is that if they
Itu setting.
like something on the
Setting dia ada.
page, if they
Ya,
commented,
dia
or
di
if they posted
maknanya
something.
kita boleh playback balik. Dia ada
Another question here is it possible to access the internet without logging into Facebook or
DVR.
skip check-in
DVR.
code? Can you please show the demo without login and not able to access the full network? Actually, when you connect to the SSID, the first thing that you would have
Ya
is the
betul.
splash
Nanti
screen.
sekali set
So
ada kat
there you would
rumah,
have
power
your
supply.
Facebook login. So actually, before you are able to see the skip check-in button, you have to be logged in first on Facebook or Instagram. So there's no way to skip the login
Itu
part.
1650.
So once you skip the login, basically you will be disconnected from Wi-Fi. The
Ya
only
betul.
option there is to cancel out. But you cannot skip logging in. You are
Ya
able to
betul.
skip checking in or skip following the
Ya
Instagram
betul.
page,
Ya.
but you're not able to skip login. So once you cancel out again from authenticating, then you won't be able to connect to Wi-Fi.
Boleh tak ada salah.
Okay, so another question here: is this the same as Facebook Express Wi-Fi? I haven't heard of Facebook Express Wi-Fi. This actually may be a feature specific to a hotspot gateway vendor, if I'm not mistaken, or it can be similar to social login. But yeah, Facebook Wi-Fi 2.0 is totally different because this one is fully from Facebook site without relying on third party. Basically, your database, your user management, and the interconnectivity is all from Facebook. No other third party hardware required.
Dia cerita dia cerita.
Okay, question here is how is the Wi-Fi code generated for the skip check-in option? Is it delivered via SMS, OTP? Facebook code there has to be pre-filled in by the admin. So the only person who would know that code will be the admin and to the people who they share that Wi-Fi code with. Okay, so another question here is, so I can say that Facebook Wi-Fi and social login are similar. But Facebook Wi-Fi is targeted more on the business angle. So that is correct. So with Facebook Wi-Fi, you can do more in terms of the business side because you would be able to generate more traffic and attract more customers on your Facebook page.
Aha. Aha.
Okay, so I'm looking at Facebook Express Wi-Fi right now, and yes, this is a totally different function.
Seperti kata
If I'm not mistaken, this
tapi
is a paid service for
tapi kalau
Facebook side.
pesan sendiri dia mesti
So
kami
Facebook
terkeluar lah
Wi-Fi
dalam
2.0 is totally
oh,
free.
dia mesti ada pandangan satu A, satu B. Maknanya takut nanti ada orang ubah kamera tu.
Okay, great question right here. Can I have an easy setup for non-techie business Facebook page owner? Yes, actually, when we launch Facebook Wi-Fi officially on the 19th, we're gonna have a set of instructions and tool sets for our customers. So we're gonna have video tutorials, we're gonna have press launches, we're gonna have instructions basically on how to set up Facebook Wi-Fi, which any person can easily understand. So all they need is a smartphone, which can download EnGenius Cloud to Go app, a Facebook page or Instagram page, plus of course an EnGenius Cloud access point. So from there, the rest will be very straightforward. So once we have the video available, we'll be broadcasting this to everyone as well.
Boleh tak ada salah. Berapa? Tak apa. Nanti saya beri quotation. Tak ada masalah.
Okay, so I think we have time for a couple of more questions. Okay, I already answered this. Facebook Wi-Fi and social login. So yeah, Facebook Wi-Fi and social login are similar. Main difference is that Facebook Wi-Fi is more on for enhancing your businesses because of all the features that you get with it. Whereas for social login, this is just for ease of use so that you can easily connect to an SSID. Okay, so last question. If I set the session setting for half an hour, is it that the user can only be connected for half an hour every day? So if you set it to half an hour, what's going to happen is that after 30 minutes, that guest will be disconnected from Wi-Fi, but they would still be able to reconnect afterwards. The benefit that the business owner can get there is that this would essentially have the client see your Facebook page again. So if you have like posts in terms of your menus or advertisements, or if the person haven't liked your page yet, so that's another chance for them to see or check in or like the page already. Okay, so yeah, this is actually live on Facebook. So if you guys want to recap, you can visit our EnGenius APAC page on Facebook because this is automatically recorded there. And if you have any further questions, you can just send us a message or let us know. Apart from that, I think that's all the time that we have today. Thank you guys for attending today's session, and you guys have a wonderful day. Take care.